Today we're at the Solid Waste Department for the County of Wayne. We're here at the Wayne County Landfill. We're talking with Tim Rogers, who is Director of Everything. Hey, man.
Hey, Wayne.
It's so good
to see you.
Good
Thanks
to see
for
you
coming
as
out.
well. We want to talk about, just in general terms, Tim, about the landfill, the solid waste department, the convenience centers, and some of the programs you have put in place over the last several years since you've been director that have just really put Wayne County on the map, and I'm serious, in the solid waste industry. And it is an industry.
It is, and I appreciate that. We have worked hard to achieve some of the things we have, and of course I couldn't have done that without the staff I have. Everybody here bought into, let's try to get, you know, to the forefront of recycling, whether it be on the recycling or on the landfill side of it. We're very innovative in our gas recovery, generating power with that gas where we weren't before.
And you know, people are not even aware that you do that here, that you actually do generate power coming out of the landfill.
We do.
All right, now that facility is just off to the side of the landfill itself.
That's right.
The gas comes, tell me how that works. Gas comes off the refuse.
Right.
Right.
Well, we have
Is this methane?
Yes, it's methane gas. We have about 160 wells over the landfill that are pulling gas from the landfill to a central location where we've got 3 generators set up. They normally try to run 2 of those generators, which are 1 megawatt apiece.
Wow.
That's about 2,900 homes is what they tell me that equates to. They have 3 generators where if one's down for repairs, they can, you know, fire the other one up. We'll keep, as far as production, will be the same. I'm very proud of that. That was a long time coming. It probably took us 15 years from the time we started putting the gas system in, which we were just flaring or burning the gas off.
Right.
That's how we were getting rid of it, to actually having the generators here and producing power. So that was a big deal when we got those up and running. We're really proud of that.
Oh, yeah.
We partnered with a group out of the UK. They came in, great people to work with, and they kind of helped us put all that together. And we get a portion off the revenue of the sale of the power, which is great. And they keep up the well fields for us, which is a good deal for us too, and a large cost savings.
They're doing
to
it.
the county. That's right.
Keeping
they do
up
that.
Are these the tiger wells that you told me about one time?
That we do have 8 spider wells.
Spider wells. Wells.
That were.
What are tiger wells?
I knew what you meant, Wayne.
I knew you knew. Anyway, spider.
You were trying
wells.
to throw me off.
Well, you caught me. Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, that we were the first landfill in the country to implement those.
The first landfill in the country to do that. To implement these.
And that actually worked out really well. And the way they work, instead of having a vertical well, where we're just like you would a water well or anything else, we just got a pipe straight in the ground and it's pulling gas out. The way they do, they run the legs out horizontal, about 6 feet under the ground and in the waste, and it's run out 8 different ways. And they're pulling gas that way, and we're actually getting a lot more gas that way. So they proved to be very successful, and of course they're using them in different places now. But we were kind of a test bed for that.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah, it was
running out in 8 different directions, hence the name Spider.
Right.
But what used to be just an absolute waste of methane gas that's been turned around now, where it was burned off at one time.
That's right. We flared it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Just burning it off, but you had to get rid of it some way. And everybody did. The state mandated that, hey, you don't want it migrating offside and causing an issue somewhere. So you need to get rid of it, and that's what we did. But I'm really, really proud of the fact that we have been able to put that project together, and we've been very successful with that. It's worked out really well.
That's just fantastic, and it's producing revenue for the county.
It is. We get 3.5% of all the revenue off the sale of electricity. But the biggest benefit to us is, when we as the waste moves in our sale, the state says, okay, you need to put 4 wells in now. You've moved far enough. It's been in place long enough. You're talking about a couple $100,000 per well. They're doing that. You know, they want the gas. It increases their production as far as electricity. So we're not having to spend that money.
That's cool.
Also, they keep the field up for us, all the wells. They, you know, if it needs new well head, new valve, you know, we just call them and they come in and they do that. We do a system in the maintenance of the field. We have an environmental tech that goes around and checks. We have to keep our oxygen, methane levels checked and make sure they're correct. And we do a system with that, but for the most part, when it comes to on the money side of it, you know, they're handling that part. So that's really saved us a lot of
So
money.
not only generating revenue, but you're looking at it at an environmental standpoint. It's
Exactly.
safer environmentally.
Very much so.
We're reusing, recycling that gas, if you
Exactly.
will.
We want to
methane
do that.
gas.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the byproducts of putting waste in the ground. You're going to have methane gas. So to be able to utilize that to something positive,
Yeah.
and to help power 2,900 homes that were having to use fossil fuels prior. So it's great.
That
It's a good
is
deal.
that is great.
It is.
You know, Tim, the area here at the landfill off Landfill Road, which is in southern Wayne County, there's a large area here. There's several hundred acres. But eventually, who knows when, we may run out of space. Is that a concern?
Well, Wayne County's very lucky. We have 1,000 acres here.
Okay.
So we've utilized maybe a quarter of that. So
Over what period of time?
we opened in '74.
Oh, okay. So the last 25, 35,
Yeah.
30,
Few
2
years.
years, 32 years, yeah.
So we're very lucky that the commissioners and the managers prior, you know, when we had an opportunity to buy some property, they bought it. And they didn't look at it when we had 500 acres and said, we've got 500 acres, why do we need any more land?
Yeah.
When you're running a landfill, you want all the land you can get, because if you have to start buying cover material, soil, it can get very expensive, obviously, if you're having to buy every truckload of dirt this you're using for daily cover. So we have the material here to do that. That's allowed us to stay viable as a landfill, and it saves us a lot of money as far as operating costs, which helps us continue to be the lowest price per ton in the state. It's $31.50. There's no one lower than we are.
Really?
But that's why our costs are lower, because we don't have to buy a lot of soil. We have a lot of things we need right here, so that helps a lot, because it takes a lot of dirt. You have to cover, you cover that waste every evening.
Right.
Now we use a tarp instead of dirt in the afternoons, but still, as you're moving, we have to put, our tarp is 150 by 150.
Whoa.
So, but any area larger than that, we have to cover with soil. Everything has to be covered when we leave here.
That's 62,000 square feet,
It is.
isn't it? Or is it 6,200? Maybe 6,200 square feet. 150 by 150, that's big.
150 by 100, I'd have to get a calculator. I'm
65,
sorry.
So beyond my thinking this morning, it is still morning, and we're not, but anyway, that's a big area. But now, I would have to say that most people probably do not think about this, but when you cover an area, once that area is completely covered with waste, you go up from there.
That's right.
It's like you're like building a building.
That's right.
You got different stories, and that's
You
one
have
reason we see
different lifts. Now, our lifts
yeah.
are about 10 to 12 foot, and we'll continue until we're at 168 foot when we're done with the 3 cells. We're in cell number 3 now.
Yeah.
We're over, it's 66 acres total, all 3 cells, and we'll just continue to go up.
Go straight
but
up. So you're building mountains here.
That's right. There will be a mountain when we get done. But they're estimating it will take us 40 years to fill where we are now, but with all our lifts.
Okay.
Of course, we've got plenty of land, so if we need in that time to build a fourth cell, it wouldn't be a problem. I feel like in 40 years we won't be putting waste in the ground anymore. If you look at where we've been in the last 40 years, I think they'll probably have a plasma arc furnace or something across the road, and that's what we'll be doing with it. And that's kind of what they're going to now. I know Asia has kind of developed that technology and kind of perfected it in a way. They've got a little ways to go, and it's very expensive, but I mean, it's
Now we're talking about the future of waste here. We're
true.
talking about something that is a science fiction kind of thing coming from the future.
True.
We're looking at plasma, what?
Plasma arc.
Plasma arc. Mm-hmm. Now, is the land across the road ours as well?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So you're talking about perhaps putting something over there.
I think eventually that's what'll happen. It may not be here.
Well,
I mean, it may be a
speculating.
regional thing. Yeah, who
We're
knows
just
in
speculating.
30,
We're
40
guessing
years.
here. Yeah, who knows?
But I think by that time, although, you know, if you look at Wayne County, we're in really good shape, but there's a lot of counties that are not.
That are not, yeah.
So they're going to be looking at an alternative, and we can't keep putting it on a train and you know, traveling some counties 600-700 miles.
Yeah.
One way to get rid of the waste. They're not going to, you know, eventually it'll get to the point where we'll have to do something else. I think that's one of the alternatives that I think they'll probably go to, because it is such a hot, it's so hot, and then incinerates it to such a small amount, and then you'll have that little bit of ash material left that you'll landfill, but it'll be, you know, if anybody's ever burned a big pile of leaves, you know, it'll be 10 times more than that.
Well, I had no idea. Of course, you're in the business, mm-hmm. and I had no idea that was even a possibility, that down the road, 40, 50 years from now, we could put an incinerator up there and totally disintegrate.
Right. And they've had incinerators before where they would burn the trash, and but this technology that they have came up with now is so much more efficient mm-hmm. on what it's doing. It's cleaner, and what you have left after the process is a very small amount. I mean, it is pretty much disposing of everything when it runs through it.
Now that's exciting.
So yeah, so you know, you take, you know, you put, you know, 400 tons in, you know, and you get 400 pounds out. I mean, you know, obviously
right.
that's a big deal. So, and when that would come about, I'm not sure, obviously, but they already have the technology. By the time necessity brings it to us, mm-hmm. There's no telling how advanced it'll be.
Well, here's what I see. I see building that unit across the street here, mm-hmm. and then we take refuse from other counties at a cost to those counties.
Well, and I think that's a very good possibility. Mm-hmm. Exactly how
it would save them.
It would be a region, because we couldn't afford to do it. We don't have enough waste to do it. We don't have the volume. So yes, it would have to be all the surrounding counties kind of going in together. Yeah. And it, you know, I probably see it as similar to our gas project, where you would obviously have a company come in and said, we'll do this, but mm-hmm. we need 3,000 tons a day for it to be viable. Then we would have to get together with surrounding counties and say, hey, you know, and it may, like I said, it may not be here. It may be maybe in one of the other counties, but I think that's where we'll end up going.
We don't want it to go anywhere.
Well, I hope they'll look at us and say, we've got plenty of land, and we've got a landfill.
This is the best location right here.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You've got a landfill right across the road. I mean,
exactly.
I think, you know.
And we're centrally located in eastern North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could take refuse from any county, but I see it as a revenue generator as well.
Right. Absolutely.
The purpose would be, of course, to get rid of all the excess.
It would help. It would help offset Wayne County's cost.
Yeah.
Because that, you know, and obviously if you're trying to get industry and different companies to come into the county, I think that our tipping rates being as low as they mm-hmm. are helps. I mean, that's a positive.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's definitely.
If you're got a manufacturing process and you've got some end product that you got to get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's important. So, and we've done a really good job. Thanks to the commissioner's foresight years ago to say, mm-hmm. hey, we need to get this land bought up and And so we're in really good shape. We're probably in good a shape as anybody in the state. You know, I don't know of anybody that has any more land than we have, not a municipal landfill. Now, some of the private, you know, waste centers, BFIs, they're huge corporations. Yes, they you know, that's a little different. But as far as countywide go, I mean, I don't think there's anybody any more, you know, better equipped to do what we're doing than Wayne County.
Let me switch gears on you here. Some time ago, you decided that, you know, we have our citizens taking things all the way in the back, climbing the muddy hills and getting out in the dirt and getting out in the trash and everything like that. You put a stop to that.
We did, and the reason we did that was two reasons. One, I mean, nobody wants to go back there, you know, and follow those big trucks in and out.
Right.
You're right, it's muddy a lot back there because when it rains, it takes a little while to dry out. But also there's a safety aspect there too. You've got people that are not familiar with their surroundings. They're going back there and you've got all this heavy equipment running around, big garbage trucks running around, and they're trying to find, hey, where do I go? And it's not their fault. I came down here before I worked here years ago now, but I mean, I know the feeling. You know, you're like, I think this is where I should be. So we had people getting lost, and I was scared that, you know, they were going to be somewhere they weren't supposed to be, and a piece of heavy equipment ends up, they go around a corner and you end up having an accident. So we spent the money. Luckily, the manager at the time and the commissioners agreed it was a good idea. And we spent the money and built a site here right beside the scales where they could pull on the scales. We'll weigh them, and they can go right around. It's you know, their own pavement. It's very safe. We have an attendant up there that can assist them. If they're not sure where it goes, then you say, hey, this goes here. We've got, we take scrap metal up there, white goods, refrigerators, stoves, but we also take C&D waste, which is demolition and construction waste, and we also take garbage as well, obviously.
I want to make a point that the attendant there does a great job. He's not there to help unload.
Exactly.
He's not there to help unload.
That's exactly right. And you know, a lot of times, obviously that's a very busy site. You've got people that are bringing metal and washers and dryers and a little shingles and some trash. And so he's constantly back and forth. It's a pretty big site and there's a lot of boxes up there for him to monitor. So, you know, he's trying to keep up with it. Now, sometimes if, you know, if it's a little slower, then it's not as hectic on him. But a lot of times between trying to keep up with our recycled carpet and we've got, you know, a closed trailer, and you know, there's a lot there for him to look after. So he does an excellent job, but he's not going to have time to stay with you very long.
That's right.
Before he has to move on and get with the next customer.
You mentioned recycling carpeting. That's a big one. You recycle tires. That's very big.
Yes. Tires is, you know, before we had the recycling, the tire recycling program, we got them in the waste a lot, which is a problem because I don't care how you try to bury them, a tire will always work itself back to the top. So you're fighting with tires all the time. That used to be a big headache for us, you know, to make sure we could get rid of them. But a lot of times you would see them, loads of them in the woods. Farm paths beside the road. But since we started this program, especially the way we have it now, years ago we had a enclosed trailer. You brought them in and we stacked them out. We actually had to, you know, stack them in the trailer. But the way we have it now, we've got a tire bunker and a machine. We top load them in open top trailers. So you just back up and you throw them in that bunker. So it's a lot easier. That's one thing that's helped us. But that helps keep people from, you know, throwing them in the woods or in the farm paths or whatever. It doesn't cost you anything. You can just load them up and bring them to us and we'll handle them in a proper way. So that's, and that's something else too. And they're taking them and they're grinding them and they're making playground mulch or mulch to go around your flower bed or whatever. But they're using boiler fuel. But they're using them in a positive way, you know, instead of, you know, just throwing them on the ground somewhere. I mean, it can be used. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. Once in a while, driving around Wayne County, I will see things that have been thrown out, where somebody not knowing that they could actually bring it here to the landfill and free of charge just unload it here without having to break the law, without having to dirty the landscape.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of free things that people can bring here, but what are some of the things that you cannot let in for free, that you actually charge to bring into the landfill?
Well, really, if anything out of your home, furniture,
That's
your
recyclable.
refrigerator,
That's recyclable.
washer, dryer,
Recyclable.
any of your electronics,
Recycle.
we have electronics trailers set at not all our sites, but the sites we have room for it. All of that stuff out of your home, a lot of things I see on is furniture. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Just sofa, recliner thrown out on the
I
side
see
of the
that.
road.
Yeah.
Or washer, dryer, tires. We just touched on tires. All that you can bring to us absolutely free.
No charge.
There's no charge
Just
for that.
bring it in.
Just bring it in. I mean,
You drive up to the scale and you
That's
say, I've
right.
got a sofa and
when
chair.
you say I've got a sofa and a chair, that we're going to take the weight because the state wants to know how much tonnage we're putting in the landfill each year. So we keep up with the tonnage, but that doesn't mean we're going to charge you. They're going to say, okay, go up there to the attendant up here on our site, and he's going to tell you which box to put it in, and it's just that simple.
You're on your way.
If it's a washer or dryer, same thing. You go up there, you're not going to be charged anything at all. It's completely free. It's covered, and I wish people would utilize that because like I said, it is free, and I know sometimes it could be a little bit of a drive for you to get here. But we've got most of our large sites, like on the north end, we've got Rosewood, Patetown, Pikeville, for instance. They'll take your furniture, they'll take your metal, whatever it might be. It could be an old lawnmower, it could be a bicycle, or it could be what we refer to as white goods, which is any appliances you have. So as well as your electronics,
any kind of metal,
any
kind of furniture. What about yard waste?
Yard waste is a different animal.
Different animal.
We can't put yard waste on the C&D area anymore. So when the state changed all the rules, then we do charge for yard waste. If it's over a certain size, then we can put it on the clean field, but or C&D area.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then we cannot. You know.
But you have to charge for that.
Yeah.
But there's so much that you do not charge for.
That's right. That's right. And and you can obviously with our sites, you could take all your recyclables for free. Any of your plastic bottle, thing that's obviously you take your garbage there for free.
Right.
We just ask that you separate them. Obviously, we do recycling in Wayne County, and we have for the last 20 years.
And in fact, you used to have to separate aluminum cans from tin cans.
We did. We used to have to separate our plastics.
Oh yeah.
But as the recyclers, the vendors that are processing these recyclables, as their processes have changed, then we don't have to be as particular. Like you said, aluminum and steel cans used to be separate.
Right.
But we don't have to do that anymore. They run it through a machine, it's got a magnet, and it separates
pulls them out.
So that helps us, and that helps everyone when that's one more bin they don't have to have. With our plastics, the same way. It's just worked out now where when they get to the MRF that's going to handle these recyclables, they have them processed that they can separate them there. So
we have 13 convenience centers, and at each one of those centers, anybody can bring paper, a metal cans or any kind of metal, and plastics.
That's right.
And recycle.